Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to get straight to the heart of things. Today, we're really plunging into some profound ideas from ancient biblical texts. We're looking at human struggle, this concept of a cursed existence that these texts describe. Basically, how parts of life seem designed to work against us. We'll be drawing from Genesis, Matthew, Romans, Galatians, James, Hebrews. Quite a range. Our mission to kind of unpack why effort often feels like such an uphill climb, according to these sources, and what they suggest is needed to, get meaningful results.
Oh.
Okay, so let's dig in. The texts seem to kick things off with this idea of struggle right from the start, like the actual ground, the earth itself is somehow part of the problem. How do they frame that initial consequence?
It's really striking. These early texts, Genesis, for instance, they describe the ground being cursed. And it's because of human actions, specifically. It paints a picture of a world that suddenly starts producing thorns and thistles on its own.
So not helpful stuff.
Not helpful at all. Meaning you'd have to really sweat, put in hard labor just to get basic food to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Life, from that point described, becomes this perpetual fight for necessities.
Right.
Humanity is shown being pushed out of a state of, ease, I suppose, forced into this constant tilling the ground, working the land, until, as the text says, returning to dust.
Oh.
So, yeah, the implication is clear. Getting any real fruit, any positive outcome from life, requires this lifelong, intense effort.
Okay, so a resistant earth is one thing, but these sources also talk about challenges being, everywhere, right? Like a pervasive influence of sin that's bigger than just one person's actions. Yeah. What's that about?
Yes, that's another layer. The scope they describe as universal. They flat out state that everyone commits sin. And they list common examples people would recognize, things like idol worship, adultery, theft. This external influence of sin, sometimes linked to, Satan's influence, is depicted as covering the whole earth.
So it's the environment too.
Exactly. An environment where it becomes incredibly difficult not to do wrong. The text even suggests there's social pressure. You might get ostracized if you don't go along with certain wrong things.
It sounds tough.
It really paints a picture of a world where overcoming these negative influences just by your own willpower, it feels almost impossible.
Yeah, that really does sound like an uphill battle. But okay, the texts go even deeper, don't they, into this internal struggle. And this is something I think many of us can, relate to. Have you ever had that feeling where you genuinely want to do the right thing, but something inside just pushes back? These sources talk about the human flesh itself, our basic human nature being cursed. What do they mean by that?
It's a really fascinating and maybe unsettling idea. It attempts to explain why our best intentions often fall short. The texts, like Romans, talk about fleshly desires, these impulses arising from within us.
Okay.
And these desires, they say, lead to what they define as evil thoughts or actions. It's this deep internal conflict. You might want good, but find yourself doing the opposite.
Yeah, that feeling of being trapped.
Exactly. Romans describes it powerfully, feeling wretched, feeling captured by the law of sin that's right there inside your own body. It really highlights how incredibly hard it is to consistently follow ethical rules or truly love your enemies just through sheer self-discipline.
Right. We try, but
these texts suggest that self-effort alone, that willpower, it just isn't enough to win this internal battle.
Okay, so if hard work on the outside isn't enough against the cursed ground, and willpower on the inside isn't enough against the cursed flesh, what's the solution? What do these ancient texts propose as the way to actually overcome these fundamental problems?
Well, this is where they introduce a really powerful concept. Sometimes it's translated as life breath in the original texts. We probably know it better as the Holy Spirit.
Okay, the Holy Spirit.
The idea presented is that this divine life breath, or spirit sort of, departed, leaving humanity operating just from this flesh level. So to overcome those deep fleshly desires and to actually live out the commandments, not just externally, but, in the heart.
These texts say you need to receive the Holy Spirit. It's presented as the key difference maker.
How so?
With the Spirit, the text suggests, a person gains the actual ability to choose differently, to choose to overcome those internal desires and resist the negative external pressures. This then leads to what Galatians famously calls the fruits of the Spirit, things like love, joy, peace, self-control, real positive change.
Done without it.
Conversely, resisting or lacking this Spirit means, no fruit, no genuine overcoming. It points to a pretty profound conclusion. From this perspective, humans, or creatures, can't conquer sin or achieve this higher state of living by their own power. It requires something beyond us, what these sources call divine grace.
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground here today. Really deep insights. From, the challenge of the world itself, this cursed land.
Right, the external struggle.
To the intense internal battles within our own nature, the cursed flesh.
That inner conflict.
And then finally landing on this proposed solution, the need for something beyond human effort, this concept of the Holy Spirit. Yeah, it really does leave you thinking, and perhaps it raises a significant question for you listening right now. If, as these particular sources suggest, both our outer world and our inner selves are sort of fundamentally set up for struggle and for sin, what does that actually imply for our attempts to pursue genuine good, how we try to live meaningful lives, and maybe how might understanding this ancient perspective change how you approach the challenges you face, those persistent struggles in your own life? Something to consider.